Hello and welcome to today's content, which will be talking about Lara Croft and doing a unit analysis on her to see if she is worth pulling and or if you want to pull for her and want to use her correctly or more properly. I'm not going to say it's 100% absolute, but yeah. Without further ado, let's begin. Here we are for abilities. Obviously the main job is going to be Tomb Raider because that's literally what Lara Croft is known for. As a base unit, she's going to have Rapid Fire, Adrenaline, Steady Shot, Double Bullets, True Shot, Duelist Reflexes, all on her main job. For her EX upgrades, Double Bullets turns into Double Bullets Expert, and it only lowers the AP cost. There is no range increase, nothing else. It is just this. I made sure to double check and look. Outside of that, her EX ability is going to be Deadeye, which is going to increase her missile resistance penetration by 30 for 3 turns for herself, which is pretty good. That's a lot of missile resistance penetration, and she already has some on a base amount from her master ability, so this is a very good amount. Key things to note here though, her barrier break and her AP restore on critical hit is only going to be on True Shot. What this means is that they have to have a barrier for her to use True Shot, otherwise she will be using Double Bullets for max amount of damage, which is also a good thing, however, because Double Bullets increases her evasion rate, which she really needs to survive and be like a very top tier evasion unit in that regard. From her sub-jobs, her Open Wound ability and Triple Shot both have multi hits. Open Wound is 2 hits, Triple Shot is 3. As you can also see, they also have kind of more quote-unquote unique situations of usage. I would say arguably Open Wound is pretty cool and good because Bravery is can lower physical damage as well as reaction abilities in general, because that's how Bravery works in this game because Final Fantasy Tactics. But yeah, this is good in the situation that it lands and it hits and that you can make good use of it. However, if it's used against like a mage or like magic damage, since it's not lowering faith, it won't do too much outside of possibly reaction abilities. So yeah, either way, one of them is piercing, which is like, it counts as AoE, but it's not actually AoE. It's kind of hard to explain. I might make a video about it on later, but yeah. These are two pretty good abilities in my opinion, because Triple Shot does allow for very fast chaining, just like her Limit Break, which is Duelist Reflexes, which I didn't mention. It is also a triple hit as well, and it decreases her chance of being targeted. So yeah, that's things to just think about. From here, for her subjob, her Gunner subjob does have the Armed Fire, which does mean that she can have a party buff for missile damage. Keep in mind, however, that she has Vital Shot here instead of like Arm Shot, which is kind of unfortunate because having Arm Shot in a lot of situations, if they don't have the disable resistance, is very nice to have. From here, her Ranger subjob does have Sharpshoot and Barrage, which is great. That means she does have access to a 100% hit ability, and she has access to a very large Barrage like AoE ability. All her other abilities are, there is no AoE outside of Piercing, and if you want Piercing to hit multiple units, the enemy units have to line up, or she has to line up properly. So yeah, in that regard, that means her only real AoE ability is going to be Barrage outside of like Piercing attacks. Now moving on to her resistances and passives. So her resistances to damage types: 10% to slash, negative 10% to pierce, negative 10% to strike, 15% to missile, and 5% to magic. Which is overall not bad at all, as considering she is an evasion unit and there are no 100% hit abilities right now, specifically for her weakness damage types for now. Obviously there will be later, and I know Glaciella has it on her, where is it? Her true... I forgot. I know Glaciella does, like her water version does have 100% hit for Pierce, but because she's not EX, I'm not counting it currently right now. As well as because Lara also has, Hate Down and High Evasion, she won't be targeted as often by the AI unless they can confidently kill her in that one go. Anyways, outside of that, she does have 0% AoE resistance, 0% single target, and at level 120 with her master ability included, she has 0 defense and 0 spirit. So as you can see, she is literally being pushed for evasion as her only survivability. For her resistances to statuses, 50% to blind, 50% to slow, and 10% to stop. So I mean, that's not too bad on the stop. It's better than nothing, but this still allows her to be disabled as well as stopped. So something to think about. For her master ability, she has the mono water element, obviously. From here, she has missile resistance penetration 15% for herself, which is a base amount, which is by itself not that great, better than nothing. However, as we saw, Deadeye, her EX ability, can raise this further by 30% and a stack, so that's 45% missile resistance penetration if it is penetrating missile resistance, so keep that in mind. From here, she also gets evasion rate by 5 for herself, which is good because she needs this, so it's nice to have. Her mobility is going to be 3 move, 2 jump, and she's a 90 cost. This is very nice for 2 jumps specifically because not only is she a gunner, but also because having that extra height mobility will be very useful in getting her abilities out. Because most gunner abilities, are like 1 height or 2 height. Compared to like ranger and like those is like you could get up to like 4 or 5 range height, which is pretty crazy. So yeah, having her able to traverse through heights with 2 jump is very nice to have. Now for her passives, what I would recommend 100% use Ace Adventurer. There is no reason why you would not be using this. It not only increases her defense penetration, which she needs, it's going to also increase her evasion rate as well as her critical rate. I know I always say that critical rate is not too useful, like just in general, because it's not like guaranteed, but I'll talk about this later on her evaluation page. The evasion rate though, 100%, very, very good. You should be using it. That is a fat amount of evasion rate of 20. From here, you can choose between Ranger Lore and Missile Mastery, depending if you want more damage or range. Also, the accuracy in general will help, I guess, just a little bit if you are going against other 100% hit, evasion users. However, she does have access to Sharpshoot if you use that sub-job, so she can use 100% hit abilities. If you don't use it, then obviously Ranger Lore would be better in that regard. Also, the missile attack is very nice because she does not have any damage modifiers like on her sub-jobs outside of like Missile Mastery and Focus, so if you want an extra bit of damage, Missile Mastery is available. For Niche and Flex, I did put Concentrate here because it lowers her evasion rate. That is not helping her survivability at all. Because the range increase is very nice, but you are getting to the point where your evasion rate is decreased, that is really counterintuitive to what she wants to be doing in terms of her kit, which is she wants to be doing damage and being evadey as heck. Like, Concentrate kind of like counteracts that in that regard. Now, Focus as well, there's no real reason to use Focus ever over Missile Mastery. She does not have activation times and attack skill activation times as well, unless you're using the Ranger sub-job and you really want to use like Supercharge or something, which I'm gonna say is not really reliable and I would highly not recommend. So I would not really use it ever. For her reaction abilities, all I gotta say is outside of Reflex, which is obviously gonna be the best option period, Lightfoot is going to be very good as well, because Lightfoot is specifically geared towards physical damage at a base 20% chance to further increase her evasion rate, which is very nice. However, Reflex literally just evades all damage, does not matter magic or physical, and yes, I know Drain Force can hit through it, I meant most of all damage, yeah. But yeah, Reflex, I would say just a better situation and reaction ability in almost all other circumstances compared to Lightfoot, so just use Reflex, honestly. Here we are at Laura's rating out of 5, and as I said in the previous video, for like scoring a unit, I really have to start being a little bit harsher or more, how would I say, more strict on rating units, because it looks like Gumi is kind of just shooting units left and right at us, especially even the 100 cost Elena coming out next week and such. Yeah, like I have to be a little bit more strict on the rating now, because if everyone is going to be like a 4 out of 5 or a 4.5 out of 5 unit or something, then it's just, there's no real point in a rating system. So I do have to put her at a 3.5 out of 5, and I'll explain why. For the pros, she is actually a super evaded unit. For a single unit setup alone, in terms of only 1 vision card and her passives only, so this is not including equipment or espers or anything, she's only behind 2B by 9 evasion, which is crazy because 2B has one of the highest evasions in the game and she is very well known for being very evadey. So this is this shows that Lara is capable of being evadey. Outside of that, her stats, she does have low HP, she has decent attack, she has very high agility, however. I think it's a base of 68 at level 120, which is pretty good. And she has decent luck stat, which is kind of ironic because she is supposed to be an evasion unit, but I'll talk about that later. She does have a 40% defense penetration on a passive, which is great. She needs that because defense penetration is just important. She has access to Barrage, Sharpshoot, as well as Reflex due to being, she has a Ranger sub-job, so this is very nice to have to add to her kit. Most importantly, I would say Reflex as well as Sharpshoot in that regard. Barrage is very nice, but it's very AP expensive, honestly, but if you can make good use of it, that's fine. On her main job alone, she's able to inflict blind, has a barrier break, and has decently good AP restoration. Also, keep in mind for the barrier break is for physical barriers, I forgot to add. For her AP restore, I do believe it was like adrenaline. So not only does it restore 15 AP to her, just using it as well gives her 14, so that's a total of 29 AP gain from one ability, which is very nice in terms of AP generation outside of obviously like TMRs, so that's a very good TP ability. Without the need of party buffs, however, she is able to significantly raise her evasion due to using double bullets. Like for other evasion units, they usually need like was it Utsesumi, or they need to use like illusion or something like that. She has double bullets, which is embedded into one of her hardest hitting abilities, meaning she has a very high chance of using it just in general for her evasion. Keep in mind, however, that it is possible for her to use her limit break over double bullets, which does mean that she will have a turn or two that she does not have the extra evasion up there. Second off, she has very high missile resistance penetration with her EX ability Deadeye, which is very nice to have, especially if they stack up a lot of missile resistance. She can lower her hate with her limit break for at least 2 turns order of attacks. Because the hate lowered by 4 and every attack she does will like increase the hate by 2, it'll take at least 2 turns for her to get to 0 hate. So yeah, that's pretty nice. That means she won't be prioritized on attacks unless she's the only one in range. She has very strong single target abilities, but she does have some piercing ability as well if units line up outside of barrage. So she does have a little bit of AoE if the stars align, pretty much. It has to like line up correctly. She has a very high critical rate, allowing her to like benefit off a lot more critical damage modifiers. Obviously, a lot of people know who played this game for a long time, critical damage is not very useful of a modifier in general compared to more guaranteed situations. However, if she can get critical damage modifiers without like losing like other guarantee situations, and or it doesn't really hurt her to get more critical damage over something else, she's able to make very good use of it. As I said before, she has 3 move, 2 jump. That 2 jump allows for a very good positioning flexibility. Her double bullets and limit break can also help chain water / missile very quickly. Also, her triple shot on her sub job for Tomb Raider can also chain very quickly, which is very nice, meaning she can set up very well for like possible damage like increases for her teammates if they are water as well, or missile. Now for her cons, as I said, this might be a little bit harsh, but I do have to say it. So first off, she has no base spirit and defense. This means she must evade attacks or else she will be taken out very quickly. Very quickly. Most of her evasion is actually off her evasion flat stats, and her luck stat is actually not that amazing, and she has no barriers or mitigations outside of evasion. This means she needs flat evasion or else she will not be very evading. I believe the comparison was that she has almost 34 less luck than 2B if they were both using their luck vision cards, and this is not including anything else outside of that one single vision card. 34 is a lot. However, she does have a lot of flat evasion nodes, which is helping her keep up with 2B. That's why she is 9 evasion behind in that single regard. This turns way worse for Lara once 2B does combine with Tifa for the Tower Promise vision card. So yeah, Tomb Raider, Lara does not really have that synergy with other like units right now for her situation. However, I will say this is kind of important for the cons. Pros I didn't add. However, if you did use 2B and Lara with their own respective vision cards, and you had like a mage or someone, a third unit that is using the Shiva vision card, you can complete the 20 evasion slot that they both need. However, I will say I don't know if you'll have enough damage with that team if you go against a bulky team, and or if it will survive, because that means 2B will be at the front taking a lot of the damage, and she will die quickly if she is not evading. Same with Lara, but at least Lara has her limit break to lower her hate. But yeah, that is something to think about in terms of composition. I'm not going to put it out there right now until... like, obviously a lot of people want to use mono teams, but yeah, I won't go too deep into it, but it is a possibility. From here, however, she does have low HP and a shorter range than other missile damage units due to her kit and passives. So that means she can be taken out by chip damage. Like, it's possible that like Black Robe Helena just limit breaks your front unit, and then Lara is just happen to be on the side. Even with her hate down, she will still be targeted by the AoE if she's within it. And it's possible it hits because she does not evade it and she just dies. So it is possible for her to die from chip damage because of that situation. She cannot increase her range further without losing other benefits from her passive and or losing out on evasion, which is not what you really want to be doing with her kit. She's able to restore AP off of critical hits only on True Shot, and because the AI will not be using it for damage over double bullets or her limit break outside of breaking a barrier, that means she does not have a reliable AP gain on that. Obviously, Cloud, like his Soldier's Honor, would be way better in a situation than only having AP gained off of True Shot. Second off, she has no imperils, she has no debuffs, she's a completely selfish DPS unit that has to perform. And as I said before, if you're only a DPS unit and you can't do anything else, you have to perform, you have to be capable of being a tier 1, or like a top tier, which is why also she got a lower score. Obviously, she does have On Fire under Gunner subjob, but that's only one ability that can help only realistically missile units, so it's not too much considered here. She is vulnerable to disable and stop still, which is, you still have to think about it like just in general, because if she does get hit by one of those, she does not have much mitigation against them, and this does mean that she will become useless if it does happen. She has no 100% hit abilities outside of Sharpshoot only, which is only going to be mediocre damage. It does not have the same damage modifiers like in terms of stats compared to her main job, which actually has like 10% more damage gain from like Dex, or compared to Sharpshoot or something like that. I'd have to relook into it, but it is pretty much close to that, meaning if she is hitting someone for Sharpshoot and she's not using her Deadeye ability, that means her missile resistance penetration is also not doing her job as much in that situation. Also, because she is only locked to one attack type, however she does have good missile resistance penetration with only using Deadeye. 15% missile resistance penetration is not a lot. If you combine it with Deadeye, it is a lot. However, you also have to consider that if the enemy does not even have missile resistance penetration and they just either have like a lot of defense or single target resistance, she has nothing to do like against that situation. She's just gonna have a lot of mitigated damage against her, and she can't take them out quickly. For vision card setup, as I said earlier, she is missing a crucial evasion setup for water currently. That means you have to use the Shiva vision card if you want to optimize her evasion. Obviously you don't have to use Shiva in that regard, however it significantly helps her evasion setup. We don't have an evasion water vision card right now that is very capable. However, she does have a lot of damage increasing vision cards that I will discuss later on an example setup for Lara. Now, she is reliant on critical hits for her damage modifiers, otherwise they will not hit as hard enough, especially on beefy units, as I said. She has a lot of critical damage and critical rate, however that is also reliant on that she does do critical hits. So if someone has very high critical evasion, just in general, she is missing a significant part of her kit of not being able to gain those extra damage modifiers. That means more guaranteed damage modifiers would have been more beneficial. It is always the same issue with everything in this game for critical. If you do not have reliable critical hit, then regardless or not, even if you have high critical rate, if they do have a high critical evasion, it will not matter. Now, getting to the more intricate parts of it in terms of discussion and not the unit alone, she is a limit type unit, which means that she's only going to be available for a little bit of time, and she is kind of required to use her limited time vision card with little flexibility if you want to make proper use of her, because her vision card is heavily giving her what she needs, lacking and needs overall. That vision card for her alone will give her more attack percent, which she needs because she does not have any attack modifiers, like attack stat modifiers. It gives her flat evasion, which she needs. It gives her more crit rate that she needs, and it gives her more crit damage, which she needs. Outside of that, the party vision card benefits as well is not only missile damage, which is the only thing she can do and is capable of. It gives her a little bit of spirit to survive against some magic, a little bit more. However, I won't say it's going to be very too useful unless you stack it up high. But also, most importantly for her evasion in general, she does need that extra 35% luck. Even if her luck stat is not as high as other units, like for Zazan and 2B, she still needs it to reach that high level of evasion. So that's why it is very hard for her to do her job without significantly needing that vision card. She really needs that to shine. And lastly, she's not really able to flex out of her DPS role for utility support and debuffs, unlike a few other units that can kind of do what she does, but they have a little bit more flexibility. They obviously won't be on the same damage tier as her, however, and evasion tier. However, if they are able to deal more supportive or utility situations in the back, this is much better and safer compared to her situation, which is only DPS. This means she has to be killing units. She does not do anything else. She can't set up outside of chain damage. So you have to consider of that. However, she is still top of her evasion, for her element at least, and that means she is still very evady. She will, however, struggle against 100% hit abilities and lightning units like Cloud. Cloud alone, with his just a simple setup with Cloud, his triple slash hits for 7.3k. His sharpshoot hits her for about 6.3k. So yeah, she has literally nothing to do against Cloud. She will instantly die. There is no chance for her. Additionally, Helena with just if you had a Helena Dwayne setup, I literally like tested this for damage modifying on the calculus damage. Black Rose Judgment will literally one-shot her as well. So yeah, if she gets targeted by 100% hit ability by any of the more relevant slash meta slash higher tier units, she will die instantly. There is not much she can do because she cannot evade 100% hits unless reflex procs, which means you're heavily pushing her survivability into a 15% base chance compared to a more consistent situation. So yeah, overall this is why I rated her a 3.5 out of 5. I do believe she's actually a pretty strong unit. She has high single target damage and high evasion. However, I will not say that she's going to be enough to shift the meta or really change up the meta or as well. Like, she will still fall prey to the more top tier units very easily and quickly. From here, her TMR chase rating is going to be Lara's backpack, which I would actually give a 3 out of 5. I think it's not too bad, but I don't think you need to chase it, especially because she's a limited time unit. You have to like pick and choose. I don't think you're really going to hurt if you miss out on this. I will say it's very useful for her, but same situation, I don't think you'll be missing out too much. It has agility on it, evasion, and accuracy, which is very nice to have. Most importantly though, is going to be the active, which is Tracker, which is going to increase the range by 1 for 3 turns for herself, as well as the crit damage by 35 for herself. I will say there are other TMRs that can increase your damage even further than critical damage. However, this has not only 2 casts, but also increases her range all in one. So yeah, this is just a decent TMR, nothing to chase or go crazy over. And here's my example setup for Lara. If I were to use a mono element team, which mostly going to be used only viably in arena mostly, it would be Tidus and Xmas or Winter Victora. And here's the vision card setup. Astrologer would be needed in my opinion because Lara already has a lot of damage modifiers, but she does not have attack stat like steroid for her. Basically, she has no attack stat steroid for her outside of just a little bit of instances. She has a lot of modifiers, and if I'm gonna use things for the Votes vision card for the accuracy as well as the additional 35 water attack on top of her already 35 water missile attack up as well, she does need attack percentage that will boost it further. Additionally, Astrologer vision card also gives them all a little bit more magic resistance, which means Lara would also be at base of 25% magic attack resistance, which is pretty nice. As I said earlier, thanks for the Votes vision card is going to be not only to increase all of their damages by more, but also because of the extra accuracy. The extra accuracy is going to be very helpful because none of them have 100% hit abilities outside of only Sharpshoot. However, if you do have a Luck vision card, which is the Tomb Raider 25 years celebration vision card does have, this means your accuracy is going to be significantly raised as well. So if you can combine both, it's possible that they have a very good hitting chance against evasion units with this setup as well. So it's something to consider. For Lara's setup for equipment, it will definitely be her dual pistols because it's gonna increase her critical rate and critical damage even further. Ribbon or Sage Hat is very important for her evasion, so use that. The Clan Mark V or V Clan Mark is Niv Lu's TMR, I believe, and the reason why this is good, in my opinion, is that not only does she already have a good AP generation ability, this V Clan Mark is gonna increase the evasion rate of her entire team, like if she's able to like be in range, which is very nice to have because increasing the evasion even further is very nice. Obviously, double bullets will like if it ever wears out, she does have double bullets to kind of refresh evasion up, which is very nice to have. I will say, Tidus is actually capable of being a little bit evady. He actually has only 2 less luck than Lara, but he doesn't have the same evasion nodes, obviously. But he is still like quote unquote capable of being decent at evasion, so this will help. Obviously, Victor is not gonna be really evady at all, but she can at least still benefit from it, I guess, because you do have the luck percentage in the team. Additionally, for the for the Esper, I'm calling my words. For the Esper, Tetrasulfate will be the best for Lara, and I say this because In terms of damage and evasion balance, Tetra will be the best for her. Because Tetra does have missile attack up and has the best evasion nodes in the game, this is literally what Lara needs. It's perfect situation. Outside of Tetra Sylphid though, you can use like a water elemental Esper just for more damage. However, as I said before, you really want her to be evady as heck, as well as she already has a lot of damage modifiers. Increasing it even further without further increasing her attack percentage in general is not, you're gonna get significant diminishing returns in that regard compared to a lot more evasion for a lot more survivability. Now, feature stuff to consider. The Santa Claus is the best evade focused cloth armor in the game, and there's no ETA on it still. I feel like if we got holiday units rerun now, and we might get them back again in December, we might be getting the Holy Flan raid finally, so we can get this. It has 29 evade, 9 spirit, 4 defense, 340 HP. So it not only gives you a good balance of HP and defense and spirit, just a little bit, not like too crazy, but most importantly is the evasion, 29. It is crazy high. Additionally, if this is a +5 Santa Claus, you get 10 more evasion and 10% light resistance, which is, it's literally insane. It's so good. It's not only the best evasion cloth in the game, it also helps mitigate damage from all light units. It's literally like an all-in-one amazingness, pretty much. It's just so good. That is something to consider for the future in terms of like evasion. Maybe Lara is a 4 out of 5 unit with this like cloth armor, but until we can actually see it, it won't be there for now. She has to work with either a ribbon or a sage's hat for now. From here, you also have to consider lightning slash 100% hit units will be effective. You have to be very wary about them because, like I said, she is capable of instantly dying from chip damage if it does hit her. Also, single target resistance is very good against her as well. So yeah, that's why I picked specifically Cloud and Oberon here. Oberon will be getting in a month or 2 when he's out. He's not only pierce damage, which is Lara's weakness, he also has a very, very strong hitting ability that's 100% hit ability that is pierce. Meaning, Lara will die in one shot. From Cloud, she will die in one shot because they both have 100% hit abilities that can take her out with very little effort if she is targeted. So you have to keep that in mind. I would try to keep her a little bit more in the back and have like a frontline tank or something, which is why in my setup I do have Tidus here, which will be haste augering them if possible in like an ideal situation, and then Tidus would be like hanging out in the front with like Taunting Blade and like pushing forward. That's, in my opinion, the more ideal situation. Anyways, outside of this is the end of the video. If you like my review and analysis of Lara, please leave a like and or comment. And yeah, until next video, which will be very soon because there are a lot of videos to catch up on now. Yeah, until next video, peace out.